The following is an article in the publication Tell Me How This Ends, from September 11th, 2025. The title of the article is I Don't Know How to Communicate with You Except Through Violence. It was written by Chris Bray. It's license. The point is power and pleasure. The author included an X.com post from user Sophie Molly. It reads, quote, Charlie Kirk was fascist cunt, good riddance, end of quote. There are liberals, in an older sense, and they've been prevalent in the Substack ecosystem. Matt Taibbi, Michael Schellenberger, Bari Weiss, Glenn Greenwald. You should at least notice what Schellenberger just said about the murder of Charlie Kirk. There are people who locate themselves on the political left and who believe in democratic pluralism and freedom of expression. They reject political violence, and they unambiguously defend your right to disagree with them. There are also people on the left who just recognize a descent into political violence as a threat to their own safety, a thing that comes to hurt everyone. But there's also a cluster B left that we all know in our bones, and they find the presence of people who disagree with them at all about anything, that is, of literal Nazis, to validate their sadistic and vicious behavior. Go swim around in blue sky for a bit, if you doubt it. The author included a blue sky post from user Andrea Juncker. It reads, quote, Let's make one thing clear from the start. Charlie Kirk was the victim of a shooting in a country where he, along with other right-wing extremist influencers, have been inciting violence for years. Kirk is neither a martyr nor a hero. He is a cause. End of quote. A reply from user John Kelly reads, quote, Thank you very much for being one of the only voices that make sense on this. I'm not happy he got shot, but I'm not deluding myself into thinking this is some kind of political right versus left event. He a Nazi who wants to destroy our society and rebuild it to suit his horrible desires. End of quote. He's a Nazi, so I'm not happy he got shot, but same thread. The author included a screenshot of a thread from Blue Sky. A user named We3Keepers says, quote, He worships at the altar of DJT. Does he deserve to be shot? No. But this is the result of his hatred. End of quote. A user named Sharon replies, Disagree. Does he deserve to be shot? Hell to the yeah. And included a dancing emoji. A user named KittyHawk05 replies, Horrible thing to say. No one deserves to be shot. Finally, a user Izanefe replies, quote, He might not have deserved to be shot. That's completely subjective. But it's undeniable that he completely built and laid out the framework for his shooting to happen. End of quote. Hell to the yeah. Or X, and of course this account has since been made private. The author included an X.com post from user Dr. Ruth Marshall. It reads, Shooting is honestly too good for so many of you fascist cunts. End of quote. We've created a woke politics that honors and celebrates brutality and degradation, and so appeals to people who enjoy hurting other people, or fantasizing about hurting other people. The author included a Blue Sky post from user Gretchen Felker Martin. It reads, Thoughts and prayers, you Nazi bitch. Another reply to the post from Gretchen reads, Hope the bullet's okay after touching Charlie Kirk. Details about Gretchen here, if you feel the need. Remember what Bob Turr, living in the identity of Zoe Turr, said to Ben Shapiro, when Shapiro said that he was a man. You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Especially, but even so, you have a thing like Klinefelter's syndrome. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're not educated on genetics.
Would you actually like to discuss the genetics? Or
well, no,
what
no.
are your genetics?
So I'd stay away from the genetics and back to the brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for a political discussion.
No, I know. Well, but wait, to be fair, but to be fair, you're actually being kind of rude. And that's not fair.
I'm sorry, it's not rude to say that someone who's biologically a male is a male. Someone who's biologically male is a male.
But Mr. Shapiro, you knew very well that saying that to Zoe would be egregiously insulting.
It's not a
Bob Turr, the father of the MSNBC idiot Katie Turr, has a long history of violent behavior. The quote that I have used as a title here is the thing Katie remembers Dad saying to Mum during Katie's childhood. But as Zoe Turr, the instinct to hurt people and threaten them becomes warm and kind and wonderful. And I've linked the video above if you want to watch the other people in the studio respond to Turr's "You'll go home in an ambulance" by telling Ben Shapiro to watch his tone. Suddenly, a sadist gets away with it. Suddenly, a sadist is honoured and supported. You go, girl. The transgender TikToker Tara J infamously posted a video making a thinly veiled threat to murder women. I dare you to try and stop a transgender woman in my presence from using the bathroom. It will be the last mistake you ever make. That video was removed from TikTok, but it's been preserved in other videos that talk about it.
I dare you to try and stop me from going into a women's bathroom. It will be the last mistake you ever make.
She does this often in a stream of open fantasy about dead women. Screenshot. The author included an image of transgender influencer Tara J with a text overlay that says, quote, "It'd be nice if I could just open a closet door and see you hanging from a rope. Hell, I might even throw a party. I'm kind and warm, and I'm not going to tolerate your cruelty anymore. So I dream about seeing you hanging from a rope, bitch." This instinct is culturally ubiquitous.
Charlie Kirk got shot and killed. How do you feel?
Happy. Goodbye.
Wow. Did you see that Charlie Kirk just got shot and killed?
That's good.
Wow. That's good. That's good that people are getting shot just off a political view? Good that people are dying in America?
Did you see that Charlie Kirk got shot and killed today?
Yes, I did.
How do you feel about that?
I don't really have any feelings about it. Who are you?
Charlie Kirk got shot and killed today. We're just getting people's opinions. How do you feel about that?
Girl, someone had to do it. And that's how I feel at this point in time. But
I appreciate your honesty. I truly do. So you said someone had to do it.
yes. Try not to get all pulled up into that, but he was a misogynist. He was a disgusting person with disgusting beliefs.
So if you had a magical wand, a magical button that you could press and keep him from being assassinated, would you press that?
No. I think things happen for a purpose. And if that's how his life was ended, then that's how it was ended. So.
The psychological function of woke politics is that it's the Uno reverse card. I'm hurting you. Don't you see that this proves what a bad person you are? On Tara J's TikTok page right now, an approving post from someone who isn't Tara J. I am a nice person, so if I'm mean to you, you kind of need to ask yourself why.
I am a nice person. So if I'm mean to you, you kind of need to ask yourself why.
You should stop making me hurt you. Don't you see what it says about you that I have to do that? Woke politics and the cultural penumbra around wokeness, especially trans everything, is a license to engage in cruelty. It appeals to cruel people. It's the politics, the political theatre of sadists. You deserve this torture. You merit destruction. You're worth a bullet to the throat. You Nazi. See also, the author included an X.com post from user Jonathan Shedler. It reads, quote, "One of the most important things I've learned, severe personality problems find camouflage. No one thinks I'm a sadist or I'm a malignant narcissist. They find a belief system/social group that validates their most hateful, destructive impulses and construes them as virtues. The most toxic and hateful people in the world are 100% convinced they fight on the side of all that is true and right. They find a way to give free rein to their cruelty, to attack, to treat others cruelly and viciously. And they find allies to cheer them on who also believe they are on the side of all that is true and good. For professional colleagues looking for more theoretical explanation, the psychological processes are splitting, projection, and projective identification. Splitting means not recognizing one's own capacity for hate, cruelty, and destructiveness. The person is blind to the bad in themselves. Instead, they project the badness onto some designated other. And this other person or group, via the defense of projection, is now seen as the repository of all that is bad and evil, that must be attacked and destroyed. That's the projection. The person now feels fully justified in unleashing their viciousness and hate on the other person, who is now seen, via projection, as someone monstrous who should be destroyed. If the person on the receiving end of the projection responds to the intense provocation with anger or dares to fight back in any way, this is now seen as further proof of how hateful and evil they are, and why attacking them is just and right. This is what is called projective identification. The end result is that the person can deny their own sadism, cruelty, and hate, while simultaneously acting it out without restraint, and feel themselves to be 100% on the side of truth and right as they do it. End of quote. The constant flood of woke sadism and degradation is not sustainable as politics. A centre-left has to forcefully reassert its presence and its values, or we're headed into a dark confrontation. Open question if there's a substantial enough centre-left in America for that to happen. And the disgusting, true conservative, con artist act is done. The author included an X.com post from George Conway. The post, which implies that Charlie Kirk was a Nazi, reads Horst Wessel, 1907 to 1930, and includes a link to the Wikipedia article for Horst Wessel, a member of the paramilitary wing of the Nazi Party, who became a propaganda symbol in Nazi Germany following his murder in 1930. Look for common ground, respect displays of good faith, and greet bad faith and cruelty with the contempt it deserves. Shameful behaviour should be shamed. That concludes, I don't know how to communicate with you, except through violence. An article from September 11th, 2025, in the publication Tell Me How This Ends.